I am Violette Ayala. I'm the founder and CEO of FemCity, and you're joining me today for FemCity TV, your home for soulful business advice. And today's topic is all about how to be anti-busy. So this actually is a great topic for so many of us because busyness is so cool, right? Like, oh, I'm so busy. She's so busy. We're so busy. Like you hear that all the time. I'm so busy. I can't talk. I'm so busy. And it's just a little bit over the top. And being busy is actually not so chic and not so fun. And I'm going to share with you today how to be anti-busy, how I was busy, went to being anti-busy, and how you can too. At one point in my life, I was addicted to chaos. I loved being very busy. It meant that I was doing stuff. I was making things happen. It meant like I was like this Wonder Woman. And I had the 3 kids in 3 different schools. I sat on 6 different boards. I was running 2 different companies and, balancing it all in between. And I was addicted to that sensation, addicted of getting it all accomplished, of really excelling and getting it all done. And people would say, why? How does Violet do that? How is she doing this all? And I found that it was not healthy, and I eventually burned out. And so if you are feeling like you're overwhelmed, if you're feeling like you can't balance it, if you're feeling like there's just a lot of juggling going on, sometimes you like it, but sometimes you're exhausted or getting depleted, this is for you. Once I realized that being busy was getting out of control, I really started kind of looking at my health. It had started to deteriorate. I found out I was pre-diabetic. I found out I was having a lot of anxiety, a lot of chest pains. I was just suffering from a lot of health issues. My blood pressure was up, and that's when I looked at my life and said, I really need to start making a change. This busy lifestyle is not really working out for me. So here are 3 tips that I use to shift from being very busy to being anti-busy, and how you can too. The first one is you're going to say no to things that don't align with your purpose or your path. So you heard me right. You're going to say no to the things that do not align with your purpose or your path. So if you are getting opportunities all over the place, that's fantastic. Really stop and recognize, are those in alignment? Is that really in the direction that I'm going? Is it going to help me get to that place faster or on time? And if it's not, if it's something that you've actually already committed to, really look at what is working, what's not working, and eliminate those and start saying no. So as an example, when I started looking at my life and sitting on 6 different boards that I really loved and I was so passionate about, that was not a priority at the time. My priority at the time was developing my businesses and being a good mother. And so being on these 6 boards, even though I loved it and I was making an impact and I was really addicted to the work that we were doing in a good way, it was no longer something that I could take on. And so I stepped down from those boards. I gave them plenty of time, and I can still volunteer if I want to, but the commitment's not there. So that's a perfect example of saying no to that which does not align to your purpose or the direction. Now you can always change, so you can say no to something now, but perhaps in a couple months or a couple years, that might be something that now does align, does fulfill your purpose. So that's the first thing, and easy to say no. You can just say no, this does not align with where I'm going, this does not align with my priorities, or this is something that I cannot take on right now. So really easy to do. So the second thing is, don't take on anything that doesn't lift you up. And here's a great one, right? So we commit to so many things because someone asked and we didn't know how to say no, and because it'd be so good to do, but if it doesn't lift you up, if it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't elevate your spirit, that's probably something you need to remove from your schedule, from your table of commitments, from your timeline. Just go ahead and start really transitioning out of those things. Everything that you do really should lift you up. Sometimes we don't have the luxury of doing all of those tasks, right? Like, it doesn't lift me up to do the dishes, doesn't lift me up to make a casserole and have to clean the casserole dish after. But for the most part in your life, you want to do things the majority of the time that lift you up, that really enhance your life and enhance your spirit. And the third thing is you want to commit to things that you can do 100%. So if you know at the beginning that you have this opportunity and you really want to do it, but you know you can't commit to it 100% of the time, that's probably generally not something you should take on. That's going to just increase your busyness, your chaoticness, your anxiety, and it's best to just go ahead and say, just like that, I cannot commit 100% to this. I don't like doing things unless I can do things 100%, so I'm not going to take this on right now. As an example, when I was on those boards, I removed myself, but I can volunteer. I can volunteer here and there because that I can do 100% of the time with that commitment that I've made. So those are some examples on how you can go ahead and start becoming anti-busy. Now you might be listening to this and saying, Violet, that sounds great, but I don't have the luxury of doing that. I can't just say no to these things. I can't just like create all this stuff right now. Of course not. And I go back to one of my favorite sayings, Oprah wasn't built in a day. So it's not going to take, an hour for you to go ahead and just become anti-busy. It will take some time, but start being intentional with your time. Start being intentional with the things that you commit with. Start being intentional with really what is a priority in your life in this phase. Each phase, things change and shift, and you can change and shift too on what you commit with. But when you're not anti-busy, there's more harmony in your life, you're a happier person to be with, you're more attentive and more present, and that's really the beauty of life. I hope those tips help you. I hope that you become less busy and more intentional with your time. And for more videos like this, check out FemCity, subscribe to FemCity TV, and we'll catch you here next week. Bye.